Hi friends, it's Joan at 10 Pentacles Tarot, and today I have a 2 for you book review, The Path of a Christian Witch by Adelina St. Clair, and The Contemplative Tarot by Brittany Muller, a Christian guide to the cards. Now I know already some people are going to be turning this off. Some people are going to be getting their dander up, as we say in the South. And actually, I never say that. I don't know why I just said it now, but bear with me here. I get it that a lot of people don't think that Christianity has anything to do with tarot, particularly people who practice witchcraft and things like that. And I know there are a lot of you who watch my channel, and I love you all. But there are also a lot of people, spiritual people, who work with Christ consciousness. And I know that when a lot of us think of Christianity, in some circles, particularly divination circles, it gives us kind of a bad taste in our mouth. But bear with me with these 2 books because they do have definitely some value to them. First of all, The Path of a Christian Witch. I picked up this book because doesn't it arouse your curiosity? Because it certainly aroused my curiosity. And when I read this book, I'm actually not all the way through, but I'm so excited about it. I wanted to share it with you before I finish because I like it a lot. Adelina St. Clair is a person who she dealt with psychic abilities during her life. I'm going to read what it says. I cast circles and design spells of burning incense and gemstones bright. I follow the teachings of Jesus, his message of love and compassion. I am a Christian witch. A unique mix of memoir and how-to that includes practical daily rituals. This inspiring book shows how one woman blended Christian traditions with the magic and beauty of a Wiccan practice. Raised in the Catholic faith, yet strongly drawn to paganism, Adelina St. Clair spent many years questioning and soul-searching before she found a way to blend aspects of Wicca and Christianity into a vibrant and loving belief system. Filled with personal anecdotes, this book tells the story of St. Clair's journey of self-discovery and revelation, from her initial fear and guilt to her ultimate sense of peace and joy. With warmth and heartfelt reverence, St. Clair discusses vital aspects of witchcraft and Christianity, as well as the commonalities between the two. She talks about monotheism versus polytheism, magical practice, the teachings of Christ, goddess worship, the femininity of God, the wheel of the year, praying the rosary, and sacred space. Adelina St. Clair became interested in religion and the occult at a very young age and has been a student of witchcraft and paganism for over 10 years. Adelina has also studied microbiology, bioethics, Reiki, shamanism, theology, and herbalism. She works as an occupational therapist in the Cree community in northern James Bay, Canada, where she lives with her husband and 2 children. Okay, so this book is $16.99 in the U.S., published by Llewellyn, and the publication date is 2010. If you've ever wondered about this, or about how can someone believe in 2 things that are seemingly so opposite, this book is definitely something that you should read. I have marked some pages, like, what is a witch? So she was in a school of learning witchcraft and paganism. She said, I had come to a point where I had to make clear in my head what was important to me. There are 3 choices available to me. Go back to a purely Christian practice. This is the first one. The second one, become completely pagan. Or 3, integrate the 2 traditions into a uniform practice, one that could stand trial to any contradiction that I could be faced with. I could not live without Jesus, and pagan philosophy had to become an inherent part of my daily life. I had no choice but to do my best to integrate my faith, hoping that I would not lose my mind in the process. First, I had to define what it meant for me to be a witch and what it meant for me to be a Christian. And that is what this is about. And there are so many really interesting things that I hadn't thought of. And I feel like this is a really good book. And if you're, if this at all arouses your curiosity, I recommend it. And I love that she has the Wheel of the Year here. She talks about Yule, Imbolc, Ostara, and how they relate to also the Christian holidays that are around the same time. Beltane, Letha, Lammas, Mabon, and Samhain, and I think that's all. But there's, this is just creating a sacred space in your home. Okay, so and there's an appendix with a lot of super interesting information. Like, for example, they talk about deity systems in Christianity and paganism, the comparisons of the two. There's a glossary and a bibliography and how to contact the author. So again, The Path of a Christian Witch by Adelina St. Clair, published by Llewellyn Publications in, what did I say, 2010. So I recommend this book. Okay, second book, again, we are going to put a Christian swing on it. I am not promoting any religion. I am just showing you these books in case you're interested. And this is by Brittany Muller, again, with foreword by Carl McColman, The Contemplative Tarot, A Christian Guide to the Cards. And again, this sort of like rubbed my fur the wrong way when I first saw it. And I'm thinking, why are the Christians trying to get into this? Why? Because usually they're totally opposed to any kind of divination, totally opposed to tarot, and so on and so forth. Now, apparently things are changing, and I need to get with the program. So, or at least understand what the program is. So it says, accessible to Christians, seekers, and skeptics alike, Muller's book will help many people learn to move beyond a superficial relationship to tarot and into a deeper one. And so it says, in the chaos of daily life, many Christians long for the time and mental clarity to reflect on Scripture, to worship, and to pray. The tarot can become an unexpected tool in this journey, inviting us to pause, contemplate, and find insight and wisdom in our walk. In The Contemplative Tarot, author Brittany Muller draws deeply on Christian tradition and theology to create a tarot practice built on spiritual reflection, prayer, and worship. The tarot has held countless meanings to readers over the course of its existence, but the Contemplative Tarot offers a uniquely Christian interpretation of the cards, including Bible verses and meditations on each of their spiritual meanings. Brittany provides practical guidance on how to use tarot in a Christian context, whether as a prompt for personal prayer, a daily reminder of spiritual truths, or as a part of a more structured practice, such as the Ignatian Examen. I'm not sure what that is. I need to look that up. Okay, the Contemplative Tarot offers a thoughtful, introspective interpretation of the tarot and an invitation to create powerful moments of reflection and worship in our lives. All right, so this is $17.99 in the U.S., $23.99 in Canada, published by St. Martin's Essentials Press. And the date of this is 2022. All right, so basically what it does is it talks about, there's a foreword again. It talks about, there's an introduction, a brief history of tarot. Let me look at maybe I can help better with this. Why tarot? How do I pray with tarot? The major arcana, the minor arcana, and the court cards. Okay, so a brief history of tarot. I've not read this whole thing. I just wanted to include this as something that you might be interested, that kind of goes along with the other book. And again, I've not read the whole thing, but I have looked at the meanings of cards. So I'm going to randomly open the book to a spot, and we are going to read, I'm going to read how they interpret the tarot. And you might say, well, you know what, that's not for me. Or you might say, hey, that's pretty interesting. So let's just open it and see what we got. Okay, the Three of Cups. And if you are looking at the, and they have the image from the Rider-Waite-Smith deck there. It is a card of celebration of, is particularly celebration with friends, creativity with others, and so on. So let's see what this book says. It says, "Oh, come, let us sing to the Lord. Let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation." And that's Psalm 95:1. In the book of Exodus, when Pharaoh's men are drowned in the Red Sea after the Israelites cross safely through the parted waters, Miriam and her women dance and sing in exultation. In 2 Samuel, when the Ark of the Covenant is brought to Jerusalem, David dances in jubilation. In the Gospel of Luke, when the prodigal son returns home after many lonely years, his father joyfully welcomes him home with open arms and throws him a lavish party. The Bible is filled with stories like this. They are stories of honoring God with dancing and singing, stories of gladness in the presence of the Lord, stories of love poured out in joyful celebration. These stories remind us that we are meant to be people of joy. When we feel the presence of God's care, we want to dance about it. When we touch upon deep contentment, we want to celebrate it. The Three of Cups shows us this instinct for celebration. These women dance in a circle, cups raised in a toast. They move with light steps, blushing and smiling, flowers in their hair, surrounded by an abundant harvest. God always loves us, and so there's always cause to raise a glass. The sense of joyful, abundant celebration we see in the Three of Cups infuses our entire religion. Christianity is all about the art of celebration. Across the liturgical year are scattered solemnities such as Easter, Christmas, Pentecost, and Epiphany, chances to dance, drink, and dine. On any given day, there's a saint whose feast day we can celebrate, and every week we remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. To live deeply within Christianity is to mark time by feast days. It is to live always in either celebration or anticipation of one, and we are able to live in this way because our whole religion is built on the ever-merciful love of God, the cup that is eternally poured out for us and for the forgiveness of our sins. This is true festivity. It is true festivity because it's a response to something outside of ourselves, a response to a reality we encounter in the love of Christ. True Christian celebration is more than just a party. It's an instinctual response to living with open eyes in a good world made by a loving God. And it continues. I'm not going to read the whole thing there. Because and basically that's the idea. There's a few more paragraphs, but I'd like to move on to the reflections. Okay, and then it says, spend some time reflecting on stories of joy and celebration in the Bible. Do they feel more prominent in your mind than stories of struggle and sorrow? Why or why not? Do you think of Christianity as a religion of festivity? Why or why not? What are your favorite ways to celebrate joys in your life? Can you celebrate the joys of faith in those same ways? Eating, drinking, dancing, singing. Do you follow the liturgical year? And so on. It just gives you things to reflect on. Now, I know that all of you are not going to be interested in this. I'm just presenting it as another thought. And there's one card that I'm wondering about, and that is the Devil card. Let's just see what this book says about that. It says, but one is tempted by one's own desire, being lured and enticed by it. And that's James chapter 1, verse 14. Within each virtue is the seed of vice. We have an instinct to seek goodness and truth and beauty, but none of us are perfect, and we also have an instinct to take things too far. We want to be good, but we also want to feel good. And so temperance slips into gluttony, love into lust, humility into envy. The devil holds up a mirror to this instinct, showing us what happens when we take pleasure too far. In the devil, we see the kind of hedonism that is enjoying oneself to the detriment of others, enriching oneself at the expense of others, taking chances on the backs of others. It's what happens when we put our own pleasure above the good of all. It is sin as the pursuit of personal gain and power with no regard to the lives of our fellow human beings. The devil shows us what happens when we let our egos override our charity and when we let that small seed of vice grow, and what a lonely life that is. The devil is not so much about the metaphysics of evil as it is about the ways in which we voluntarily forfeit our freedom to selfish desire. You know, guys, I mean, this makes total sense to me. I don't know about you, but this is a good description of the devil card, in my opinion. It is no accident that the two figures in this card are in chains. They are not the children of this devil, but its parents. They have created this monster and are now beholden to it, unable to escape. The centering of the self above all else creates a sort of spiritual imprisonment. It introduces a certain claustrophobic hollowness into our existence, chaining us to our own wants at the expense of anything else. This kind of hedonistic pleasure reduces us to a state of passivity, trapping us in an endless cycle of feeding an immoderate desire, no matter the cost. In this way, the inner heart of sin is not so much the presence of evil as it is the absence of love. It's an empty negative force in our lives. To live with Tarot's devil is to be trapped by a thing visible only by the suffering it causes. I mean, that, I'm feeling it, people. I'm feeling that. Okay, and then the reflections are there any parts of your life in which you feel inclined toward selfishness? If so, how can you correct them? Tarot's devil shows us sin as a sort of imprisonment. Reflect on the idea of sin as imprisonment and virtue as freedom. Might that change how you feel about them? If so, in what ways? Reflect on your relationship with pleasure. And so it gives you things to think about as well, and to reflect on. And I see nothing wrong with this. I would love to know your opinions on this. I know that some of you are Christians, probably. Some of you are at least open to ideas. Some of you will never touch it with a 10-foot pole, and that's fine too. I just want you to see what's out there, and if you are open-minded, you might want to just see what these people are saying, okay? It can't hurt, that's for sure. So anyway, that was my, those were my reviews. And I want to tell you something kind of funny that sort of surprised me. And that was this, that my most popular tarot deck review for the last month was the Biblical Tarot. Okay, if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, you haven't seen it, go on my Tarot Deck Reviews Volume 1 playlist, and there's a review of this deck, and I have to say the artwork is gorgeous on this deck. There is also a Christ Consciousness deck that is in the Oracle Deck Reviews that I think is also a very good one. Okay, so, and I am not bringing this to preach to you. Again, I just want you to show you what's out there. Maybe you'll find it interesting. Maybe you'll want to look into it. Maybe you won't. And of course, whatever you want to do is fine. So I want to thank you for being with me today. I appreciate you so much more than you'll ever know. I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever it is where you are. And I hope to see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.